welcome back to today's MANCINIMA. The movie we're going to be taking a look at today is Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves. But before we do that, I'm going to throw you over to the like and subscribe guy. He can fill you in on all the details there, and we'll be right back in a moment. Before we get started, if you could find the thumbs up button down below on the panel and hit it, that would be great for me. It just helps the channel out a great deal. It just lets people know that we're here, lets YouTube know that we're out there, and to spread the word, so that would be great. If you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. If you have already subscribed to the channel, please don't touch that button. But if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe channel button down below. There's loads of videos on this. There's about 70 odd videos on this channel of all different things, collecting, dinosaurs, film reviews, that kind of thing. Please go and have a good look through. Hope you enjoy a lot of them. But yeah, if you can subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Also, if you could hit the notification bell, you'll know when I've done a brand new video. So, with that said, let's get on with today's film review. Thank you for doing that. So, today's movie is Dungeons and Dragons Amongst Thieves. When I saw the trailer for this movie at the cinema, it really wasn't for me. I saw loads of sword and sorcery, kind of people running around in armour, all that kind of latter-day stuff. Dragons here and there. I'm not really a fan of fantasy movies. I really didn't kind of care for Game of Thrones. It went on a bit too long for me, that one. And I really didn't like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is one of my pet hate movies, so it's one of those movies I just didn't, like at all. So I was a little bit worried about going into this one. However, we went to see it because currently there was nothing else new showing at the cinema this weekend, and I thought I'd give you a film review for this movie. So we sat in the cinema. I wasn't really expecting very much and was quite pleasantly surprised with the film that we saw. Chris Pine plays the character of Edgin, and he's seeking a better life for himself and for his daughter Kira. Now Kira is played by Chloe Coleman, who you may remember played Adam Driver's daughter in the movie 65. Edgin was once a member of the Harpers, and they're a secret society of peacekeepers. And he was going about his business working for them until his wife was murdered by an evil red wizard. And of course that changed his whole course of life. Edgin attempts to steal a resurrection tablet which he hopes will bring his wife back. In this quest he is aided by Holger, played by the superb Michelle Rodriguez. He's aided by Simon, who is a wannabe magician, and he's played by Justice Smith, who you may remember from the Jurassic World movies. And there's a scenery-chewing Hugh Grant as Forge. And Forge has this mysterious assistant called Safina, and she's played by Daisy Head. Now, while the rest escape, you find that Edgin and Holger are captured, and they spend 2 years in prison. So, fast forward 2 years, and we find Edgin and Holger still before a council of 3 members, and they're pleading their case as to why they should be released. And Edgin keeps breaking his story. He's telling the story of how they got into this predicament in the first place, and he keeps breaking his story to kind of ask where the 4th member of the council is. And they say, it doesn't matter where the 4th member of the council is, just get on with your story. So he gets back to his story. And we find out that the reason he keeps asking where this 4th member is because he needs this person to plan an elaborate escape from the captors. And that's exactly what they do. There's an hilarious scene, I won't tell you what it is, but there's a hilarious scene of how they make that escape. And once they do, they head to the land of Neverwinter. When they get to Neverwinter, they find that Forge has been taking care of Edgin's daughter Kira, and he's become this lord, and his head is on giant balloons, and he's dressed in his finery, and he's really kind of chewing the scenery, as I said earlier, and enjoying this role. And he seems to have come off rather well out of all of this, compared to these last two who have spent the last couple of years in prison. However, we find that Forge is not all he seems. He's in league with Safina, and Safina is actually revealed as an evil red wizard. And they plan to keep Kira for themselves. Edgin, Holger and Simon the wannabe wizard form together, and they seek to find the Helm of Disjointion. Now that will break down Forge's defences and Safina's defences, and it will enable them to rescue Kira from their clutches. And that is basically the plot of this movie. So, as I said at the beginning of this review, I saw the trailer for this one at the cinema, and immediately I thought, oh, this one doesn't appeal for me, and I really hope that I don't have to go and see it. I don't get on with movies like Lord of the Rings, I don't get on with TV shows like Game of Thrones, where people are just running around in armour and fighting dragons and imps and goblins and that kind of thing. It's just not for me. There's something in me that disconnects with the material, and it just doesn't appeal. It's just not my kind of film. However, with this one I was actually quite pleasantly surprised. Yes, it does start out very boring. It's very slow as they establish the characters and kind of tell you what they're about and their quest and that kind of business. And I did find it dragged a little bit at the beginning. However, there's a midway point where they go to a cemetery. And once they hit that point, the movie just kind of turned around for me. It got a lot of fun. The cemetery scene is very, very funny, and appeals to my horror sense of humour, of course. And I was just in from there on out, really. I enjoyed the characters a lot more, enjoyed their quest a lot more. The movie is very funny. It's got some very hilarious moments. There's a great moment where Chris Pine has a defect, let's just say that. And that made me laugh out loud in the cinema. And it's full of action. The characters are great. I absolutely loved Michelle Rodriguez as Holga. She is a warrior, that girl. I mean, you know, she really does do these fantastic fight scenes and really kicks ass. You've seen her in the Fast and Furious movies and other movies, but in this one she kind of really holds her own. And yeah, absolutely love Michelle Rodriguez in this. The other characters are superb. Justice Smith is funny as the Wizard Simon. He's got a few funny moments where he does a few tricks and they don't quite come off. And yep, Hugh Grant, like I said, chews the scenery, and he's really enjoying himself in this film. It's nice to see him kind of playing these kind of comedy villain roles in his later ages, as opposed to the kind of the soppy romantic type that he was doing in those early years. So yeah, I think he's found a new niche for himself as a pantomime villain kind of character. Dungeons and Dragons seemed to be quite a long movie. I think there was a mid-credit scene. I didn't stay to the very end credits, so I don't know if there was a very end credit scene, but there's certainly a mid-credit scene, which is quite funny. It relates to one of the earlier scenes that you've seen in the film, so stick around for that. Yeah, lots of action, lots of fun, a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. And I thought the visual effects were fantastic. The creatures, like I said, I'm not really a big fan of these creature movies where they've got these giant dragons and things like that, but they were amusing, and I thought some of the trickery that they did with the magician's tricks and things like that was very good and very inventive. So yeah, I do recommend that you go and see Dungeons and Dragons at the cinema. It's actually quite an enjoyable film. If you could just get through those first few minutes, the first few minutes are actually a little bit tedious while they're setting everything up. But yeah, once they get to the graveyard in particular, the movie kind of picks up and turns around, and it's actually quite enjoyable to watch. It becomes almost a little bit like an Indiana Jones kind of adventure where they've got to solve puzzles to get from A to B. It's actually there's a moment in the film, I won't tell you exactly what it is, but there's a moment in the film that's very similar to Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, where, you know, when Indiana Jones has to go into one of those pitfall kind of things and he has to solve a riddle. It's almost the same kind of thing, and then it just goes wrong, and you go, okay, so this isn't going to go the way that we thought it was going to go. And how do they resolve this from here on out? So yeah, it's very good, it's very interesting. Like I say, loved all the characters, I thought they were fantastic. Whether it's going to do good enough to see a sequel come out of the other end of this, I don't know. Hopefully people will go and see it, and hopefully they can, if they do come back to do a sequel, that they can build upon the humour and the fun that this one had, and maybe play down a lot of the sword and sorcery. If they can keep on with the humour and the fun, keep the same characters, then yep, they may have a bit of a franchise on their hands, who knows. But yeah, really did enjoy Dungeons & Dragons Honor Within Thieves, or Honor, something to do with thieves anyway. Forgot what the title is. Honor Among Thieves, there you go. And yeah, I recommend that you go and see Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves at the cinema. I would give the movie a 7 out of 10. It's not quite up to the standard of some of the other films I've seen this year. It certainly won't make my top 5 of the first quarter, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, go and see it. It's good fun. It's a good fun Easter film for you to take the kids along to and just sit down and enjoy and let it wash over you. That's Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. There you go, got the title right on the end. Yeah, so let's talk about the next video that I'm going to do for you, which is my top 5 films of the first quarter of 2023. So we are now in April, so we've had 3 months of the year so far, and I've selected my top 5 films from those first 3 months of the year. And that will be coming up in a video next week, so keep your eyes open for that. That will be going out, I hope, on Easter Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, so keep your eyes open for that one. So that's yeah, my top 5 films of the first quarter of 2023. Right, so for this one, thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry there's been a bit of a stumbling here and there with words. It's early and I wanted to get this one out as soon as possible for you. If you could do the usual routine for me, please like the video. If you are brand new to the channel, please subscribe. If you are already on the channel, don't subscribe because it unsubscribes you. So yeah, only if you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, that would be great. hit the notification bell. That will tell you when I've done another video. And also come and have a chat with me down in the comments. Let me know if you saw Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves. I'm never going to get that title right, am I? Honor Amongst Thieves. And let me know if you enjoyed it, if it's your kind of movie, if you like those kind of Lords of the Rings-y kind of sword and sorcery type of movies. If you do, let me know what your favourite one is, and we'll have a chat down in the comments. But yeah, thank you for watching today. Thank you to all of the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's liking the videos so far. I do appreciate it. Got something special hopefully coming up for you in a couple of weeks' time. But for the meantime, thank you for watching this one. There is the 2023 first quarter video coming up next week, so look out for that one. And I will see you all very, very soon.